You look like
Who
you're
wants
you
that?
look you look like you look like you're trying to
Oh,
record the
no.
first Paranormal Activity. What was that?
Ah! All right, man, dude. We could do some great special effects here.
That'd be funny. What kind of font we going with?
We're gonna pull this up. Big screen.
Modern
Big
Warfare
screen.
2 wife. Okay, that's not it. Wish
Wife list. I like it.
list.
Really, just wish.
All right.
Let me do this. We're gonna be looking up NMDs. Oh, I like those.
NFTs.
Actually, I really like those.
All right. Can you stop highlighting everything? Okay. It's bothering me.
What?
Okay. I'm just gonna type on here, just for the
What did I
sake
highlight?
of me organize. You had like the whole thing highlighted, and it was pink.
Okay. Oh, the Google Doc.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
what?
just because I copied and pasted.
Yeah, I figured.
Might
All right.
be.
All right. So we're gonna go over wish lists for Modern Warfare 2, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's, as you can tell, we've got some pretty in-depth, let's make these a little bit bigger. We got a pretty in-depth wish list here. It's 4 points. Those 4 points will then go on for the next probably at least 45 minutes or so, because they always do.
This will be a 7-hour podcast.
This may or may not get extremely rambly.
With the blizzard going down in Houston right now.
Yeah, literally, we might lose power.
We might be dead. We might be dead.
All right. It actually looks a lot better up close. You see the pores.
You can see where my acne used to be.
Amen, sister.
Nice. Now I'm 31 years old and still play video games, and some people find that deplorable, and I find them deplorable. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess you want to start it. You have like most of the ideas for this talk.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
I'm just talking for like 75 minutes straight.
We're just gonna go. I'll just interrupt whenever I feel like it's important.
Yeah. So I'm just let's just go back there because that didn't work. Yeah. So I think let's set the stage a little bit.
It's 1993. I was
Call
born.
Call of Duty 4 is the best Call of Duty of all time.
All right, and then into video. That was 6 minutes.
And let me give you 2 reasons why. Call of Duty 4 hit a really good balance of still giving you that like warfare vibe that you're like in a war, while also giving you that vibe of being like a just a awesome soldier, like you're just killing everyone. By the time Modern Warfare 2 comes along, it's a great game, don't get me wrong, but it that vibe of being like in a gritty warfare just kind of went away, and then it just became about how much cocaine you could snort before playing a multiplayer match, and we discovered it was a lot of cocaine. And so Modern Warfare 19 tried to get back to that gritty feel, but the cocaine users didn't like that. And so we talked about this before, but Modern Warfare 19 to me was the best Call of Duty in a long time.
I wonder if part of what makes us feel like cocaine being snorted is required for like any Call of Duty after like Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we were probably also snorting cocaine. We were also 16 then? Well, and even so like we're part of that, and now you're 31 and I'm 29. We're like so out of that. We've fallen off.
There became game mechanics that made it like that. So like quick scoping.
That was in Modern Warfare 2 though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is Modern Warfare 2 was kind of that start of that. Even, and we'll talk about this later. Like the map design, just really, the map design really focused on every map being essentially a run and gun map, or they went in the complete opposite direction. It was way too open, and it was just unplayable because it wasn't a good balance. Yeah, I mean, definitely like when we're like our abilities at our age now is definitely decreased with age. We're
I don't
not
know
Nick
about you.
Nurse and all them.
We're basically not even at the top of our game anymore.
No, we're not even close.
It's because we're only halfway there. We're on the incline. Okay.
You can even tell like Doc is what, 40, 39, 38?
I actually have no idea how old he is.
He's late 30s. And you can tell even when he plays like with Z.
It's pretty obvious. Z has like 30 kills. He has
Z's
5.
20 or 21. His brain just moves at a different pace. And so it's not that style isn't fun. It's that style shouldn't be the only style.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my fundamental issue. But point is I thought Modern Warfare 19 did a lot of really good things. And so I want to see them kind of expand on that. And I also want to kind of see FPS games take maybe a bold new step.
Brave New World.
Because like we go back to Halo 2, or even Halo 2, yeah. They introduced FPS like genre to consoles, so to speak. Like to the mass population who didn't own GoldenEye and the N64.
It's crazy because I didn't have that. I didn't have either of those.
But they popularized it, so it became a super common thing. And so Call of Duty though was kind of seen as the Medal of Honor's competitor, and they were kind of like Medal of Honor versus Call of Duty. It wasn't Call of Duty versus Halo until COD 4. Until COD 4 came out, and then at the same time as Halo 3, and then it was clear that these are the two master games of the time. But Call of Duty's, so to speak, has stuck to the same formula, changing some aspects of their formula, the pick 10 system, the gunsmith system,
pick 10 system.
So Black Ops 2, the pick 10 system, it was like you would pick your perks, how many perks, you'd pick how many attachments, grenade, like it was a little bit more sandbox in the sense of you have 10 slots.
Yeah.
You pick how you want to use your 10 slots. And people who played Black Ops 2 loved that about Black Ops 2. I was done with Call of Duty by then. I kind of hated the super arcadey run and gun style by that point because I've always liked games where it takes a little bit more strategy to play, not just like running violently into a wall over and over again, hoping for a different outcome.
Yeah.
And then Modern Warfare added the gunsmith system, which was obviously I liked the system a lot. But I feel like there's a space where Call of Duty can maybe expand to. And so one is with the recent acquisition from Microsoft, is rumors are that after Treyarch's game in 2023, that Call of Duty won't be annual anymore. And I hope that Treyarch takes advantage of that in the sense of making a complete universe. But I hope Modern Warfare 9 or 2022, Modern Warfare 2, whatever you want to call it, takes advantage of that. And so just like a small thing to me is they talked about the integration.
What do you mean by taking advantage of it if it's not going to be annual?
So like if they just do the same thing, and it might, I don't know if their formula right now is going to work super well in a non-annual setting.
Oh, okay. I mean, but like, I guess, what would you do differently?
Well, that's what I'm about to get to, Kyle.
Oh, okay.
We're about to get there. One is, I think,
I'm tired.
The integration between Warzone and the multiplayer games has just been an absolute dumpster fire.
Oh, for sure.
Games have their own little you're like everyone's introduced in a universe, but they all have their different quirks. It's all unbalanced. It doesn't work for a few months. And so
it's all separate.
It's an issue. It's a problem right now, and I think that's just the best way to describe it. It's a problem. Where I would personally like to see is that there's a grander conflict going around, but each Call of Duty game is in that same universe, almost like the Marvel cinematic stuff. Is that like Treyarch isn't going 40 years ago and being like, cool, look at this M16 in 1964. Would you like to use it in Warzone against the 2022 M4 rifle? Oh, by the way, the M16 has perfect recoil and can kill you in 2 shots. It's just like, this is stupid. This it's just dumb to me. Like I kind of enjoyed the lore and the story. It's just dumb to be like, this gun 40 years ago is way better. But like if they like even took on like different parts of the like conflicts of like you know, I think the next Modern Warfare 2 is supposed to be about like a drug campaign or whatever, drug war campaign. But what if like Treyarch takes like a version where the theater's in Asia or the theater's in a different part of Europe, and then when you introduce that different part of the Europe or the world, then you bring in the guns that are from that area into Warzone, and you just slide them into there. Playing Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, I think that's what it's called. Can't remember. One thing is that Ghost Recon does a pretty cool job of it, and they're so basic that they miss a huge opportunity. Is that like kind of open world campaign? And I've always wondered like if Call of Duty went to like a almost like what Halo did, and I haven't played the Halo campaign, but I'm just doing it based on rumors, where it's still very story driven, but you're still kind of choosing where you're going to go next in your story. Like I think that'd be cool if Call of Duty do that. And then also if you're able to start like building an inventory and like the guns you acquire in the campaign you can transfer to the multiplayer. Or whatever. I don't know like a perfect solution, but just stuff like that. I think one of the things that Black Ops 1 did really good was I like the COD points in Black Ops 1 where you chose what gun you want to unlock next. You'd have to sit there and wait till you're level 44 or have 75 matches with 1 kill in a row to unlock this weapon. Like, use COD points to, like, I don't know, do that. But COD points right now are monetary, attached to monetary, where in Black Ops 1 they weren't. So they'd just be pay to win at that point. So I don't think that's going to work. But there's, like, system like that. I don't know. But I just like to see the worlds connected better, I think is the gist of what I'm saying.
That's fair. I think I'm just more interested in like the Warzone side of things just because of like the natural state of like arena shooters or like kind of garbage. And like Battle Royale is just better right now. Because I don't unless you just like completely change how like the type of game that, or at least the multiplayer side of COD is, like non Battle Royale Warzone. But like if you unless you change that, I think Warzone's just going to be the only game that people really play. And you're gonna have, you're gonna have your niche people who are gonna play multiplayer, but like, I think the complete universe, I think is an important piece to that. At least making Warzone like really work upon integration on like different like pieces of COD. I'm really curious because I did see the same like kind of article whenever after Treyarch's next COD, after this coming year's one, about how it's gonna be not on a yearly cycle. So I'm curious to see how they pull that off, or be part of the Game Pass type of thing where they can just where they just updated it. And there would just be an update with like, I don't know. I don't really know it, but there's possibilities there. And I think with the Microsoft acquisition, it could be good. Hopefully it's not a total shit show, but we'll see.
And I think there's a lot of people who are interested in kind of the lore of Call of Duty. I know there's a lot of people who just want to play Warzone and just give me whatever it is. And I think that's why having a really robust universe is important, where you can meet those points. But even one thing I think I would prefer this to a certain extent is Treyarch and Infinity Ward just go in different directions. And Treyarch focuses on their side, Infinity Ward focuses on their side. I would love to see Treyarch do a Blackout 2, because I think Blackout was a really good idea and had a really great core, but had none of the vision. It didn't have the vision of buybacks. It didn't have the vision of free to play. It didn't have the vision of cross play. It was just like they're just like how people respond to Blackout, and it was essentially universal. It was like, this is the best part of your game is Blackout. Blackout is the best part of your game, and then that's I think what got them into be like, all right, let's go all in on Warzone.
Yeah.
And so it's like I don't like this just like let's put everything in Warzone because we have to. It's like, you know what, you might steal from Blackout, and maybe Infinity Ward. Maybe Treyarch takes Warzone and Infinity Ward sits there and create something new and exciting. They're talking about like a DMZ mode that's supposed to be like an escape from Tarkov, and I don't know. I think battle royales are also more than just necessarily survival. Last to last, be the last one to survive. I think the genre is in its infancy when it comes to ideas and innovations. I do believe that I think battle royale is overtaking the arena shooter, because I think battle royale has so much space to grow and to evolve its definition of itself. Where the arena shooter it's not as engaging. It's just like it's better for casually, I think.
Yeah.
And it's fun casually. But you're not gonna, at this point, people aren't buying things necessarily for your arena style. And I think a ranked mode, a really robust, rewarding ranked mode, has to be a must at this point.
For arena shooters?
Yeah, like I don't understand how you can get away from that, because
I don't understand how you can get away with not having a rank mode for every game.
Yeah, it's just to give someone something to really hang their hat on, and to really look forward to achieving. And that's where you can put all your SB skill-based matchmaking in that, and then you can have your casual modes being what they're supposed to be, which is casual.
Also,
like, if someone wants to go in and get 150 kills, cool. Those were fun days.
Let's not even talk about what Warzone should have. You know what I'm talking about? Mode. No, not just a ranked mode.
Iron Trials.
And having that be the ranked mode.
I think Iron Trials should just be their standard.
It should be their standard, but if they're gonna like
increase C2K across the board, but
if they're gonna try and make it like a harder to play,
yeah, one,
then Iron Trials, everyone liked it.
Well, and that's what I guess even like the multiplayer is. I want to see really two things in the next multiplayer. There's four things. I'm going to talk about two at the same time. One thing is a really robust gunsmith. I want them to expand on the gunsmith. Vanguard, one of the cool things about Vanguard is that you get to have every single slot, but not the more and more I thought about it, I was just like, I don't know if I like this, because you don't have to make a hard decision. You just like, what's the best thing overall all the time? And so you can put on all these stabilizing attributes of a gun and barely feel any difference when it comes to your ADS speed.
Yeah. And so, talking about multiplayer?
Multiplayer and Warzone. There's no risk behind doing that. The fact that, and this is more so Warzone, especially Modern Warfare Warzone, the fact that, and I think Black Ops actually did this better, or the Cold War, whatever the awful game was called. Like Modern Warfare is like, here's this monolithic suppressor. It does everything right. Bullet range, damage range, bullet velocity, silenced. It's like this is this is by far the best attachment on a gun. and it's like barely decreases your time to kill or your ADS speed.
There's like I just wrote it in here. I don't know if you're looking at it, but like there's no risk for loading up on guns with all the OP attachments. No, there's no absolutely no risk. If it helps your gun be more steady and have more damage range and I don't know, like more bullets in the mag, like more damage, like less damage fall off at range. But you have like you're slightly slower to run and like you have a slightly slower like ADS speed. Like who cares? Everyone takes the more damage easy because if you just hit your shots, like you're gonna beat them. Who cares if you're like ADS slightly slower? Like nobody.
And I think, and that's what bothers me is, you know, we talk about the metas and how, you know, even today when I'm on YouTube, 5 videos are like, what's the new meta? What's the new meta? What's the new meta? And it's just like
meta simps.
What's meta simps, but it's also just like, one, it's not fun when people are just like, I what's the best gun? I only can use the best gun. But 2 is they created that environment where that's what you have, and to a certain extent, you're always going to have a really good gun and a really powerful gun. But sometimes there are people who just like they like the handling of a different gun better. Sometimes the handling of a meta gun better. And they do better than what the meta gun is just because they like how it handles differently.
The Odin.
The Greg Odin.
Gregorus.
The Gregorus. But like the PKM we've been running for the past.
Oh yeah, with no sight.
Yeah, even. It's just it's a lot of fun. It's just like, oh, this is cool. It actually does a lot of damage, but no one's even like talking about it because it's like we took off like aiming stability. We took off certain things.
Yeah.
We and that's what like I really
and like the riot shield, like when we did like a week long of like riot shield and like throwing knives, like that was a hell of fun. And we were like started to troll at first, but then I found like kind of a busted STG like SMG with like incendiary rounds build.
Yeah.
And the AS 44 build with rapid fire incendiary rounds, like it's just like shreds. But no one's talking about it because it's not the what is that? What's the LMG right now? Did they nerf it yet? I'm assuming it's
the Bren still
the Bren. I'm assuming that there's probably a skin in the store. It's just like, or a loadout that you can buy in the store that's essentially like a pay to use.
I will say, I feel like I've ran into the Bren a lot less frequently recently, but that's not the point. The point is, I think the perk of a good gunsmith is you can build your gun to your style.
Yeah.
And the problem is, everyone's style is the same right now, which is get the low recoil, high TTK, beam them across the map, and then rush in with that SMG and do a bunch of spins around it, whatever. Like why can't you like change an SMG that you really like the handling to make it build more like an AR that you really like the handling, build it more like an SMG, an LMG, like transitioning it to an AR. Sniper rifles are kind of their own thing, but even like the sniper rifles, like the HDR is like it's a great weapon, but when you have like the Swiss in there that does better body damage with less recoil, like it's just like there's not a lot of diversity.
Less recoil, higher rate of fire, and like or the car, like it's been goated since they reduced bullet drop off and like increased damage.
Yeah, what's
an ADS speed.
Yeah, because all you gotta do is like put a monolithic on it, put the longest barrel, but then you put the laser on it, and somehow the laser makes the ADS like instant. It's just like, what'd you do? We added this 2-pound weight on it. What happened? It actually made it lighter.
Yeah.
And just really give us that diversity of just like, I don't know. I liked the custom, like the RPG aspects of like being able to customize and really suit something for you.
I have a loadout that I want to try tonight.
Sweet.
I'm curious.
I'm just sticking with mine. But I really like, and this is because I thought it worked better in Modern Warfare's multiplayer than it did in Warzone. But I think it'd just be, that's the next evolution is like you get to go in with your style There isn't a meta. Everything has a pro. Everything has a con. Sorry. And the pros don't COVID. The pros
COVID.
don't the pros don't outweigh the cons. The cons don't outweigh the pros. They're as perfectly balanced as humanly possible. And there's gonna be issues here and there. But like I don't know, like if you value recoil control, then the best attachment on your barrel shouldn't be a silencer. It should be the recoil control.
The compensator.
The compensator. That's it's in the name. It compensates, and it's
for having a small.
And it's worse than the suppressor. Like, and then what happens is now people aren't playing with silencers because the recoil control function is actually working properly, and so now you're seeing pings on the map because now it's changing the pace of the game. And this is more Warzone, but even like multiplayer.
I don't run silencers most of the time.
Yeah, but like if you think about like my experience in COD 4, if you put a silencer on your gun, there was a decent chance you were running Ghost with it.
Yeah.
Because there's UAVs all the time.
Right.
And so UAVs are constant. And I hope I do wish they go back to the ping system. That way they can give Ghost a a proper strength, but also you were if you did it, you ran stopping power, or you were a coward and you ran Juggernaut.
That was fun though.
It was fun. Well, I didn't do it because I despise people like that.
But you could go on a long tear, especially if you didn't have a silencer. Yeah. But one of the things I did want to say though, right before you go into whatever you're about to say next, before I forget my point. Yeah. So like what I did appreciate, but the Vanguard gunsmithing system for like their weapons, and what pisses me off still to this day is that you can't save loadouts for anything other than Modern Warfare guns. But like, and they don't make these attachments like across for like every gun. Anyway, regardless, what I did like about Vanguard's like gunsmith system is that like they did allow for you to do a little bit more custom stuff because there's so many more attachments, and the subsonic rounds that there's no ping on the map, but there's still sound, so you can kind of pay attention to like where they're shooting. You can kind of run towards that, but you don't know exactly where they're at, so you could run a compensator with it. And I've tried that, but the only problem with that is when it's good, but also I feel like at the same time the subsonic rounds are the rate of what's not the rate of fire, but the bullet velocity is too low to where like it's harder to hit shots than if you're just running the standard meta loadout, which is the monolithic suppressor and any other type incendiary rounds, even though that has slower bullet velocity, which doesn't make any sense, but I'm still able to hit the same shots. But I think the subsonic rounds are like too slow, and so I'm running into issues like that.
I think that's it. It's the problem isn't that the subsonic isn't balanced; it's that the silencer isn't balanced.
But then, but if I run, what I'm saying too is that like, then I try to run incendiary, and that's fine. Those shots hit. And that's supposed to lower, unless I'm speaking straight out of my ass, I'm pretty sure that it lowers bullet velocity.
It does, but I think the difference is, it's probably like maybe the incendiary and the subsonic, and maybe that's how you balance it, is they all have the same bullet velocity decrease across the board.
Yeah.
But these are their perks, It's like, hey, they all decrease by 200 milliseconds or whatever.
Because they don't tell you, and this is the thing that pisses us off too, is that they don't tell you how much damage does it lower, how much faster is your ADS speed, how much slower is your ADS speed, how much damage range do you get. Like there's no actual slider for that, and you have to use a third-party system,
and that's in Warzone,
and it's a problem.
And the multiplayer they do. The multiplayer gives you the whole background and everything.
They don't tell you that for Warzone.
I know, but I'm saying like, we're also talking about multiplayer. But the point is Modern Warfare 2's new system that needs to be included. That needs to be a thing where they give you the percentages, they give you the numbers. And you know, you give someone enough time to find a meta. The difference is the meta shouldn't be so game breaking that no one can compete.
Yeah.
The meta should be a nuisance. The meta should be something that is easily accessible to new players to help them get their feet wet, but doesn't make them automatically better than you.
Yeah, or yeah.
Like where they can win one-on-one gunfights just because they have a better gun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's busted.
If you have above a 2.5 KD, you're gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, but yeah, you're not the center of the world. So shut the fuck up." I think that's the part of the meta. And I am going back to multiplayer though. One thing I do want to see in Modern Warfare 2 is I do want to see an increased time to kill and Warzone, by the way. Just because I think it doesn't mean to be a lot. I kind of like the gritty aspect of, you know, when we were growing up playing COD, though I remember like everything we would say with my friends is like, hey, check your corners, check your corners, check your corners. Do not run into a room and not know if there's someone in the room. COD's not like that anymore. There's no checking the corners. It's tack sprint, slide, 360, spray around the room. And if you have better skill, and I'm going to go on a rant about that later. I really hate how people like the only skill in Call of Duty is fast pace. It's like that's not the only skill you
all quick pace movement.
Yeah, it's like saying Tom Brady isn't the greatest quarterback of all time because he doesn't run a 4.40. It's a stupid argument to make. But it is a skill, and I think the game should be open to that skill, but the game should also be inviting to people who have other skill sets. And so if you're not someone who's going to run into, you know, have perfect reflexes in close range battle, but you're better at mid to long range battles, you're a better sniper, and especially multiplayer, because this is one thing that, you know, I hated about COD is that one of the things COD War 4 and Modern Warfare 2 did a really good job is sniping was relevant. Now Modern Warfare 2 went into quickscoping, and everyone's like, I have so much skill because like his quickscope. It's like, yeah, you and 17 billion
1v1 me on Rust, nerd.
Quickscopes only. You know, we'll talk about that in a second, but like Call of Duty, like sniping used to be sniping. Like you would sit back and you would snipe people, and then you'd hear in the death comms, "Pussy, you're sniping." There's something beautiful about that exchange. Then it just became like it became a linear style game, which isn't inviting to anyone who's not between the age of 14 and 21. But that's where I want COD to be strength is be that inviting game. Have a risk reward gunsmith where it's like, hey, I know I'm not great up front, so I'm going to kit out my weapon to be better a little bit deeper, a little bit longer, so I could engage battles better over there. With the sacrifice being that my gun doesn't run as well. So if I'm fighting an SMG guy and I miss all my shots, he can outmaneuver the crap out of me because I missed my shots. Increase your TTK, so it's not like someone runs out in the open and that you shoot them 2 times and they're dead, which also would give value to hardcore. Hardcore becomes a different mode. I thought the realism mode was really cool. That they just never expounded on it. They pretty much, the COD fan base was either we want only hardcore or regular mode. We hated realism. I loved realism. I thought it was really cool.
I don't even remember the difference.
What
was the difference?
Was like realism is headshot automatic kill. But everywhere else in the body was like normal multiplayer.
Gotcha.
These people wore body armor. Like it was realistic. And COD,
so it was SWAT.
Yeah, essentially. Title of this video: Ethan sneezes a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I would really appreciate that. Which kind of brings me to my next point, which is I think Modern Warfare 19 did a lot of really, really good things. However, I think the one thing that really held them back was their maps. Kyle, let's bring up the maps. I can't see this. I don't know what's going on.
All right, bring up the maps.
I don't know. I had my thing. Thought you said you're gonna look them up.
Nah, just bring them up. I'll just change what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Okay. So
see if I can do this here.
Why don't you pull up? I think look up like COD for tactical maps, like tactical view.
COD for tactical maps.
Yeah, and then it should be a Call of Duty.fandom.com page.
Okay.
Click that. You see that?
Yeah.
All right. I want you to go to Overgrown.
Overgrown, one of the best.
I think I really like looking at this.
You got an overview?
Yeah. You see that like kind of like on the right, it has like the Wikipedia side of it. At the bottom is like the tactical view of the map.
Just yeah.
And so like to me, what I loved about I think this map is multiple things. This map was great for multiple styles. If you look at the top right of the map, there's a building there.
This one? Across the bridge?
Yeah, across the bridge.
Yeah.
This one. I have no idea. Yeah, that one. What was great about that?
Oh, it's the warehouse, the barn, right?
Yeah. And what did you know about that?
You can snipe.
There's gonna be a sniper. If you go to the other side of the bridge, like kind of right on the creek, it's like on the same bridge, but the other side.
Yeah. That was also a sniper because there was two. Building. It was a 2-story.
But here's what you notice: look at their views. They don't have complete control of the map.
Mm-mm.
So if you don't want to mess with them, you don't have to engage them. Like it is not a centralized. They have limited views. The guy on the bottom left of the bridge, he has a better view of the creek side, but he doesn't have a better view of what's going on to the right. And you can get around the other side of the map around him because he'll still lose his view after the barn for a second.
Yeah. Because you can go through the so you could drop down through the barn.
Yeah.
Part of the barn and go to the right side of the bridge and get that like little gate opening, and that 2-story won't be able to hit you most of the time.
Yeah, but even do you remember the building that essentially was like 60% of the combat?
Yeah, the one that had like the gate.
No, so the building
or the house with the attic in it.
The house with the attic in it.
So I found that had a lot of fighting. I found that the one across, like right across, that had like the gate that you go through to get to the house.
Also, that's where most of the combat was centralized.
Yeah.
And this is what I liked about COD 4 maps, is consistently, the fighting was in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
Consistently, the fighting was in the middle of the map. That's not true for all the maps. But a lot of the maps, you will find most of the fighting happening in the middle. Crash was kind of a little bit different. And then there's some maps where they were open, and we can look at them later. But they kept them fighting in the center. I think that did two good things. Is one, if you wanted to run in, you knew exactly where to run into. But two is snipers could also, like look at all the like long lanes.
So look at so you see the left side of the map where the bridge is, and then you see on the bottom side of that bridge, you see all the way, you can go all the way to the left. That spot over there, I was there quite frequently sniping.
Yeah. And do you remember, even if you keep on going, and the very top left of your map, it was that like high grass. If you were a sniper on the I think it was on the SAS side.
Yeah.
You had a ghillie suit.
Yeah.
And so you could sit there prone in there and start shooting. And it was so cool, but the problem is if people watched your kill cam, they knew exactly where you were immediately.
Oh yeah. I always used the ACOG on the M4A whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, there's no, sight, but I love the 50 bear. But
yeah, 50
my point is even that house with the attic. The attic only had two sights. It could only look at the barn, and they could only look at that top side of the map.
Yeah.
The attic. So the attic wasn't this broken spot.
But if you were in the attic, it was hard to die.
It was hard to die, but there was ways to get you. It became very easy. If you knew what you're doing, you could get people out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 access centers, the ladder on the side of the house, and this is actually one thing. If people are really worried about COD and camping, I think the number one thing COD can do is get rid of the trophy system.
Easy.
That way, if someone's camping in a room, stun it, flash it, throw a grenade, whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, that was a stupid feature. Why did we start adding stuff like that?
Because it catered to campers.
So annoying.
But even that, like the bottom story of the house, like there's 3 different entries, and like
you couldn't hold the bottom side.
Yeah, it wasn't a guarantee. The other side of the house, that was a harder house to hit.
Which one?
The other side, the one that you said you found it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Other side of the creek.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is like one thing I appreciate about this map is the flow. It's not building the building; you're running into space, but there's freedom in how you're going to attack your next position. Where COD went wrong to me is when you played like Black Ops 2, and we'll look at it later, where they became much more traditional 3-lane maps. Is once you made a decision, you were kind of stuck on that decision unless you went all the way back. Like you didn't have the freedom to like just kind of maneuver.
It was literally 3 lanes, and you couldn't go in a circle.
Yeah, and so you could make whatever shape you want. So if you started off like at the gas station, and you saw someone was in that window, you could camp behind the vehicle, take out the guy in the window, run to the building, get on the side, make sure no one else comes up there, get across to the building. Oh, I'm going to change my mind. Go to the house. Oh, go across. Like there was flexibility of movement.
Because even if you look at it, like it's a circle. And even if you decided that, like, say, like the middle lane was like the path between the 2 houses, that's not entirely true, because you could always go up that one that had the staircase that went up to like the tiny little shack.
Yeah.
And then, or you could go, so like there was the what do you call that? It was like the tiny little building that was on the other side of the bridge where the barn is. Like you could go into like a tiny little door in there, and you can get out.
Yeah.
On the bridge side. So like you didn't have like necessarily like direct ways where you were funneled through. There were only ways you could go to.
Yeah.
And
that's I think, and like the word you just said, funnel.
Yeah.
Call of Duty started doing funneling. And so what it does is it's not a bad mechanic, because it makes for really fast gameplay, which like Shipment was that way. And it was really fun and really fast. And you try to funnel people in the one direction, you just destroy them. But these maps don't exist anymore. Where there's long lines of sight, where there's open space between buildings. But then once you move, you have the flexibility to make a decision and change your direction without any real issue. Because the other, like, there's buildings in modern COD games, so the buildings would be right in the middle. And so if you go left or right, you die.
Talk about
these, you could maneuver just a little bit.
I'm just over here looking. Yeah, I'm over here looking through like some of the maps. Like I went through like and looked at Block, and I just looked at I think I just glanced at Crossfire, and we just looked at Overgrown, even Strike. Like Strike is probably the most like 3-lane type of map.
Yeah.
Or Ambush. Ambush is probably the most 3-lane type of map that existed.
Okay. So actually, let's look at Ambush. Ambush is one of my favorite maps.
But even if it's like one of the most like 3-lane type of maps, they still had the underneath portion in the middle. Exactly. And they had like because they played with verticality in that, which I felt like was really smart. And then like they had like you could go through and in between buildings.
Yeah. And so do you have the map up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So do you remember the 2 sniping spots?
Yeah.
The one on the right side of the bottom right, or not bottom right, like mid right.
Yeah, mid right in that little window.
Yeah, and then essentially on the other side of the creek, that middle building. But do you remember
the rooftop?
The dumpster that you could jump over the wall onto a dumpster and then jump into that middle building on the left.
Yeah,
that spot?
Yeah. That was a goated spot because you could only get headshot.
Oh, and and so.
But you had a nasty heady on like everybody
on their side.
Yeah.
But if spawns flipped, you were screwed.
Yeah.
You weren't screwed. You could still do really good.
Oh no, I went on like crazy kill games.
Oh no, yeah, but everyone knew that strategy. So once they figured you out, they'd throw grenades at you, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like, I think, like you said, this is probably their closest to a traditional 3-lane map, but it plays completely differently.
Yeah.
Like even if you look at that right side, you knew someone's going to be underneath, and so you do what you could to kill them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get over to the other side, the sniper bunker, they can't see you anymore. And there's no way for them to look down on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so and this is, I guess, one thing maybe to say is that what open mobility provides is flanking, like proper flanking. And COD isn't about flanking; it's about ramming up as hard as you can. Really like toxic masculinity, like buzzwords.
Buzzwords, exactly.
But like, and I remember I would go on the right side, and then I would just you can get that corner, and you can hold the team back. But then guess what? If you get spawn trapped, you just went out the left side. This is also the map that probably had the worst spawn trapping.
Oh, it was bad because you could trap somebody on like one side of the map if your team wasn't stupid.
And I think that's what's different is in COD 4, and this is probably nostalgia. You could spawn trap. You couldn't spawn trap solo. You had to have a whole team.
Yeah.
I feel like modern COD, you could hold a team back all by yourself.
Yeah.
Spawn trapping them. And so the spawning was better, but there's that middle building on the bottom side of the map that you had access to essentially every angle possible, and you could really do a lot of damage there too.
Mm-hmm.
But like you could, like the other sides because the hill was kind of high up. If you like ran out to the left and held the fence, you could escape the snipers. Like there was always an option.
I always liked being on the bottom side of the map. So the bottom side of the map, all the way in that like on like the open field, and there was like a couple of trucks and stuff. That was also a pretty good cyber spot because you could see into the high people up.
Yeah, and they couldn't really see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that map.
Let's look Sniper glints didn't exist.
There's so many good maps on this game.
I like Block. I actually really like Block, but I know
Block is universally like hated.
I know, but I thought it was an interesting map.
You know what's really underrated? Actually, you know what? You want to talk about traditional 3-lane map? It's Wetwork.
Oh shoot! Where the heck is that? Oh, here it is. Oh, dude. You know something about Wetwork though? Loved it.
Well, because it
was the same on both sides.
It was the same on both sides. It mirrored itself a little bit. It had verticality in the middle, but the verticality spots in the middle weren't broken.
They were not power plays. You were most of the time punished.
Yeah, you died. Really, what you had to play was the corners.
Yeah,
play the corners of barrels, and anyone try to run across. But it just the fighting was always in the same spot. But if you were able to kill off a side and get around them, it was game over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you destroyed them. That's probably the most traditional 3-lane map they had. What's one of my favorites was okay, here we go. Go to Showdown. I loved Showdown.
Where's Showdown? Here it is. Oh, this one was good.
And what I loved about this is
this was good, but it was also awful. If you got a dude that had a helicopter, the game was over.
Yeah, because
like say 75% of this map is outside and no cover.
Well, so there's a lot of cover in the middle.
Yeah, but like if you're outside, you're pretty much screwed, and like you could also get shot through like the arches and stuff, even if you were inside.
But what's great is they both had. There was only one access point up on both sides, and that was the left and right stairs. But you couldn't access it from either side. You had to be on that side of the map to access it. But there's also the stairs down below that could access you higher above. And so there's a lot of great crossfire that happened. If you had teammates, and there's a tactfulness that Modern Warfare used to have, where if you had guys who knew how to hold the top and you could hold that bottom tunnel.
Oh yeah,
it was like you could just.
I loved holding the top. The top was the play.
But then it was also like it was a great flanking map. Like you could jump down and just. You're struck. Like it was just. There was so much mobility. You weren't stuck in a decision. You could. There was so much flexibility where you could go.
For sure.
Do you want to look at Modern Warfare 2 next?
Yeah, we're getting into close to an hour.
All right.
By the way.
True. Oh yeah, we are. You're right. Actually, let's just jump to Modern Warfare 19 maps then.
All right.
Let's.
If I could spell, oh my god.
It's on display.
Arklov Peak. Ugh.
And here's where Modern Warfare 19. I thought they had a really cool vision, which
Euphrates Bridge.
6v6, 10v10s, and ground war. It's like awesome. The problem is the maps that 10v10 were really meant for. You play 6v6 on them, and they'd be miserable because they're too big.
Scrapyard.
I want to look at what I think is the best map.
Scrapyard?
No, Hackney Yard.
Yeah, that's part of the original.
Yeah, like of the originals. But even like if you look at Hackney Yard, Hackney Yard did one. I think one of the things that made it work was it gave you that flexibility in decision making.
Yeah, you could go up and down.
However, the issue was that middle part was essentially inaccessible.
Oh, it was dead zone.
Because if someone was holding one of those buildings and they saw you, it was over.
You're trapped.
You had to play the edges.
Mm-hmm.
With the other maps we talked about, you didn't have to play. Like I think the ambush, you could have just run in the middle, but you could go down below. Like
hold on, let me go look at some of these other maps too. So what I noticed about like a lot of these maps, outside of like, even that map. A lot of these maps, let me see. There wasn't a whole lot of maps like you were talking about how like a lot of the fighting took place in the center of the map. Not a lot of these maps took like the if you were in the center of the map, like you're dead.
Yeah.
Piccadilly, prime example. Don't fight in the middle of the map. The best example of maybe like if you're in the middle of the map, you're doing well is Euphrates Bridge.
But then it became broken.
Yeah. Shoot house, garbage. They brought Crash back, but they changed it too much.
Which is funny because
Superstore was trash if you're in the middle. Rust, I mean, I don't even really consider that a Rust and Vacant. Like, I don't understand why they brought that back. Like, I do, but
Vacant was a fun one.
Scrapyard, middle of the map, dead. Like a lot of these. Sawmill, maybe if you get in the middle of the map and you can get a good spot, like you're gonna do okay. The Tank Factory, I thought was weird. I almost forgot about that one.
What the map started doing is like once you got to either side, there were these clear vantage points that had like the whole map as a vantage point.
Yeah.
So they were like, it's like if you push too far up or push to a certain degree, someone's camping in the back and they can see everyone to their left and right. They might not be able to see very far because stuff's in their way.
Yeah.
They can see everything to their left and right and just kill you. Where like you think about like the map we looked at, Overgrown. There was no building like that.
Yeah.
There was no building on each side.
Now they had limited windows and limited doorways but like so I'm gonna go to a map. Like for example, the one that I hated with like within me, and I thought was so actually kind of good during the beta, Granza Raid, the one that had like 500 doorways and every single window was open and like everything was campable, and it was massive.
Yeah,
but that whole middle area, like. There was people just sitting in every single window and doorway. Like too many points of accessibility became a problem, I think, for COD. They like kind of got too fancy, too complex, too cute. Yeah. Whenever they just really needed to focus, that's what I have a problem with. Like, I think that's where we differ when it comes to, because a lot of games I notice, like, as technology progresses, they become like, they try too much with their graphics, and they try too much, and they like, because they can, opening areas up, for example, whereas like maybe they didn't think that they could do that before. And COD 4, I don't even remember when COD 4 came out, and I can't even remember the year. But like, I feel like because of like the limitations of like the tech as well, like you couldn't do as much. But I feel like as games have gotten on, like the realism that they're trying to pull out of it is like, of like making everything accessible and like opening doors and like opening doorways and windows up. Like, I think that's too much. Like, let's just focusing on like solid gameplay and like strategic gameplay if you're gonna make something like that.
Yeah, and that's where that middle, that one middle building, you could hold the whole team down.
Oh god, it was stupid.
And you had every angle, so like if you couldn't escape it.
And like, I don't even want to talk.
Escape was that far right side.
Yeah.
That was really the only. But even still, if someone's in that second building on the window, boom, you're dead.
I don't even want to talk about the whole useless area up in the top left of Granza Raid. It's awful. Yeah. It's so bad.
Fine. It was fine during headquarters, but that was about it.
They have that one building that you can see the trenches, but everything else is pointless. Why is it all there?
Yeah, and that's what I agree that Modern Warfare 19. Like, I think one thing I guess, and I even feel like Modern Warfare 2, they even got away from that on their map design.
Let me go back on that real quick.
Modern Warfare 2 it wasn't super open flow. There's a couple of really good maps. Afghan
goated map. I liked it. What the heck? I liked Estate. Oh, Estate. Favela. Liked Favela. I know you didn't.
Is that the one? No, what was the one? Is Favela the one in like Brazil?
The alleyways in Brazil, yeah.
Yeah, I hated it.
I love this map.
Because Favela was just campers in every other room.
I used that as an SMG game.
Yeah.
Or if I sniped, I stayed on the outside the alleys.
Yeah.
High Rise, loved that map. But that was like,
I was okay with.
That was kind of a classic 3-laner.
Yeah. Well, High Rise.
But it also had the underground piece.
Well, and there's the high ground piece too. There's someone you can get up in High Rise.
Which
on one of the sides.
Yeah.
And that person could just hold the whole map. Like, if you had a good person up there, they controlled the game.
Karachi, I thought it was garbage.
I forgot. I was trying to think of it. I couldn't remember it. Terminal was okay. I think Terminal's overrated.
Terminal's kind of overrated, but it's a good one.
The only reason my issue with Terminal is
Quarry was a tough one. Because that's where you got stuck in like tunnels.
Well, Quarry was all the little rocks and everything.
Yeah, but once you go down an area, you couldn't, like, you had to either turn around or.
Yeah, it was bad.
Rundown was a good map.
I don't remember which one was Rundown.
Rundown had like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like kind of like there was two sides to the map, and you can only get to the other side from like very specific like bridges. If that makes any sense. And there was like buildings that were bordering those bridges. You'd have to look at it.
Was it? Yeah. See,
So I thought Rundown was a good map. I liked that map.
I think I hated Rundown.
Favela was the other one that was also in Brazil.
What I hated Rundown is because was there ways? Oh yeah, you can go down the stairs. Okay. Yeah, Rundown wasn't too bad.
I liked Rundown. Rust, it was just like a shipment.
Rust was shipment 2.0.
Scrapyard was fun, but it wasn't that great. Skid Row was okay.
Underpass sucked.
Subbase, the Subbase was decent.
I thought Invasion was pretty good.
Invasion was good. Terminal was okay. Underpass, meh.
Invasion kind of had that classic mobility. Like
Wasteland. Talk about a nuke game. Wasteland was a nuke map.
Yeah, so Wasteland is an awful map while simultaneously being an incredible map.
It's such a great map to get a nuke on. It's the easiest map to get a nuke on. Noob tube, one man army. You could hit every single point in the map with a noob tube, one man army, and I thought it was the most novelty thing in the world.
We would rage so hard at that.
we would scream.
I honestly, so it just could be memory. I don't know. I think when the one man army became like the dominant method of playing, I think I stopped playing Modern Warfare 2 by then.
You might have. It was definitely frustrating, but I was one of those people who was like abusing it.
Yeah, no, and that's what my issue was. Call of Duty 4. There was definitely things you could abuse, but there's ways around them.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2, there's nothing around it. Like, I think one thing that drove me crazy about Modern Warfare 2, and I know I'm not in the
I think Estate was my favorite map.
The common opinion here is I hated when you made like a really great maneuver around a team.
Yeah.
And you turn a corner into an area where you know their sniper is and he's just been holding down whatever. And all the dude does is turn around and just shoot you, and you have no you can't respond at all.
Yeah.
And it's just a broken mechanic, and it's just like yeah, that's just skill. It's like it wasn't
just reaction time.
Yeah, it wasn't like a hard to master skill. Like if it wasn't if it was like I would run into it every once in a while type of situation, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And like sometimes that happened in like older games, and someone just turns around and flicks on you. You're just like, oh, that was dope. It was a mechanic, and it was happening all the time, and that's why I hated it.
I guess what would be a drop shots. That still happens though. So I guess a point we could make from this is like the main point is just going back to like a more dynamic
open play,
more dynamic way of playing.
Multiple strategies to win a map. You're not stuck in one strategy. You're not stuck SMGing. You're not stuck, shotgunning. You're not stuck on tac sprint.
So options.
There's options, and it's like, but if there are campers, the campers can't win the game. And
we kind of already talked about a little return to classic headquarters a little bit, ranked mode.
I didn't. Return to classic headquarters. This is important for me. Headquarters was cool because it was like a continuous game of search and destroy. Except anyone could arm the bomb, but you had to be, and there's 2 bombs, and you had to get both bombs off.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Was there? I think there's like 1 bomb. I think I'm lying. You fight over the spot.
I thought you fought. So I thought it was different. Did it not go by rounds? Am I high?
Yeah, no, it did not.
I thought you had to get. I thought you had to get 2. Was it first to 200? And there was a halftime.
COD 4 didn't have halftime.
The hell am I thinking?
I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember the game right now. It was Modern Warfare 2 though. I'm pretty sure.
Because there was one where you had to arm both, and like it was like you said, it was like a continuous search and destroy where you respawn. I can't remember the demolition.
Yes, yeah.
That was a good game type.
What I liked about headquarters is you're both fighting over the same spot, and so what that did for me was 1, it eliminated campers because you can't really camp when the bombs on the other side. 2, it required a ton of teamwork, and so you had to clear out a side, and then it did get campy because you camped on your bomb.
You had to.
But you had to, and so but you could do like shipment headquarters was stupid fun.
It was,
and I don't know if I finished. I don't know if 10 games ever actually ended because of score.
No, it was just time limit. Yeah,
and I think my highest skill game was like 181 or something like that.
Well, most of that was just, it ended up being just a large kill game.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was a nice.
I wonder how much of it was fun, because I'm assuming you played with people. I had a lot of fun playing with people.
Yeah.
And like playing with friends, and like those are the games that were hilarious.
COD 4 was probably one of the few games I played that I could play solo for hours.
I did play solo for hours. That was my first COD that I played.
Yeah.
And no one was playing COD that I knew yet.
It was better with friends, and I play with friends all the time. But I would definitely go home after school and play for 3-4 hours by myself.
I remember when I first discovered, and I couldn't. That's just the thing about like gaming, and like whenever YouTube is in its infancy, like when I discovered how to build my own shotgun build. I built the pump shotgun. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I did the pump shotgun, and you had to use sleight of hand and juggernaut, otherwise you died too fast.
Yeah,
and you could run around, and I used sleight of hand, juggernaut, and whatever the third perk would have been. But I went on like crazy kill streaks, and I was having so much fun with a pump shotgun. Was the sprinting perk separate from the other two?
I think it was still double time.
Was double time separate from sleight of hand and juggernaut?
I want to say the sprinting perk might have been perk 2. It might have been ghost and juggernaut. It might have been perk 1 though. I mean, guys, is there a way to look at this? Let's look at multiplayer to see what this is.
But like, I had to like put this together, and I was so incredibly proud of this thing because I was like destroying people.
Yeah.
But like, that's the kind of stuff where like YouTube didn't really exist, or at least not the way that we knew it today. Like it had a horrible UI, and everything looked terrible.
The M1014.
Yeah.
No, the W1, the W1200.
Yeah.
That was the. I think they both might have been.
Whatever. The semi-auto like shotgun 2 was good. Yeah. But it didn't have as much range, I don't think. But if you got close enough, people died.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at perks right now. All right, so the perks. Yeah. Oh, extreme conditioning.
Yeah, extreme conditioning, sleight of hand, and juggernaut.
Because I would use. What did I use for perk 3?
I used iron lungs or something like that for most sniper builds. Unless I was running
aim a lot.
Steady aim was pretty common though.
Steady aim, deep impact, and obviously sniper was iron lungs. I think I started using eavesdrop because a lot of people weren't like in Xbox, like most people were still playing in lobbies. Like people weren't necessarily always going to chart. Like even if because you want to talk to your teammates,
yeah.
So you would not go to your Xbox party. You would talk in the lobby, and if your teammate was terrible, you would flame them the whole time.
It was so much fun. That's how you developed thick skin back in the day.
Yeah, but even thinking about it, like even perk 2, yeah, like jug, stopping power, overkill, UAV jammer, ghost, essentially.
Those are all very competitive, like hard.
Sleight of hand.
Those are all very good perks to choose from.
The only ones I didn't remember people, and perk 2 was a dominant slot, was Sonic Boom. I never saw anyone run Sonic Boom.
That's an explosive damage.
And actually, I saw people run double time. So, like, I think Sonic Boom was the only one. The first perk was I only ran Bandolier.
Really?
Yeah, I only ran Bandolier.
I ran sleight of hand a lot.
That wasn't in perk 1.
Wait, what was sleight of hand in?
Sleight of hand was perk 2.
Oh, so then what was that one then? What was the perk 1 then?
Perk 1 was 2 C4s, 2 RPGs, 3 special grenades, bomb squad, which no one used, 2 claymores, bandolier, and frag. So perk 1 was.
So I think I ran like stun grenades then. I had to have.
So here's I guess I don't like. Let's talk about perks real quick. I know it wasn't on our list, but perk 1 was essentially ammo.
Yeah.
Different forms of ammo, and you get more ammo this way. The frag 3 on shipment was stupid.
Yeah.
But also hilarious at the same time.
Let me look up.
perk 2 was like gameplay, like you're like what
it's like quality of life.
Perk 3 was essentially like movement. And like not all of it was, but like deep impact was it, but extreme conditioning, steady aim, last stand, martyrdom, dead silence. Actually, no, that's right. I ran dead silence.
I gotta look at the perks. I want to confirm what I ran.
But
where the hell is?
But now it's like you get 1 or 2 good perks per class.
Okay, and I definitely used not stuns. What am I, stupid? I definitely had to have used the give the player either 3 stuns. I special grenades.
Yeah,
I had to have used that one. What the hell was I thinking? I definitely used Juggernaut, and I used extreme conditioning. Okay, so I didn't have sleight of hand on.
Yeah, I don't know. It just And here's one thing I do hope, one that was like a kind of a dumb thing I did kind of enjoy about Modern Warfare 2 was the pro version. Like once you played enough, it was kind of like a cool like.
I thought that was cool. That was cool to me.
And so I like that too. But even like if you go to, they took in Modern Warfare 2, they moved Ghost to. Did they keep it perk 2?
I think they kept it perk 2.
Yeah, because it became it wasn't there wasn't there one called Ghost?
It wasn't UAV Jammer, was it?
No, but it was Cold Blooded. But I thought Cold Blooded was only
Cold Blooded and Ghost. People ran Cold Blooded was the ones that kill streaks couldn't see you. Ghost was UAV.
But there's no. I'm looking at it right now. There's no Ghost on here.
I thought right.
Marathon, sleight of hand, yeah. Maybe Ghost was Black Ops. That sounds right. I thought you could have. I remember playing like Ghost and what was the one-man army? Stupid. Bling was pretty cool because you could have an attachment. However, I did scavenger a lot because I ran out of ammo so much because I was so good. People ran marathon with the
Cold Blooded. Cold Blooded is perk 2. There was no Ghost.
Yeah. And so stopping power, lightweight, I ran stopping power and cold-blooded essentially only. Maybe danger close depending on the game.
I ran lightweight for a lot of.
I remember people used marathon and commando, and they just run around knifing people.
Oh, that was so cool though.
With a like a riot shield or something.
Yeah.
Scrambler. No one ran that. Ninja, people definitely ran.
Definitely.
Sit rep, I don't think I saw anyone run that. And last stand, obviously. Yeah, so Modern Warfare, dang. Black Ops definitely has Ghost. And apparently not cold-blooded. I don't know. I don't know. I like make it an open sandbox. Make it where you can really build around your playstyle. Don't force a playstyle. Make the maps more open and flow. But if you want to have really small, tight 3-lane maps, do both. Like
crazy thought, right? You appease both audiences.
Everyone can you can enjoy, and that's what I don't think kids. And I think we saw this with. I think one of the things I noticed with Warzone immediately is I haven't really played COD in years. And I walked into Warzone in month 1, and I was destroying lobbies for my standards. Some of y'all probably like, oh, I did better. But I was doing really good, and I think part of that is because I could play any style at any moment. And so many kids were only good at rushing that they never learned how to shoot an AR from distance. And then the game came out with the growl, and they said, well, if you can't shoot from distance, we'll give you a no recoil gun so you can feel better about yourself.
Well, then you had aim assist. Come on, buddy.
Hey, stop it. You were on control there for a bit, and
I was for the beginning.
And you saw what I was doing. It took me about a month to get into it, and then my KD just started skyrocketing, and then it plateaued. My KD has been like the same 0.04.
We also started absolutely messing around.
What, you're talking about recently?
Yeah. Well, just
I'm saying like that first like year of Warzone.
Oh yeah, I get you.
Like it was like that from May to June before the growl became stupid, like and everyone used it.
Mm-hmm.
I went from like a 1.4, 1.3 KD to a 1.8, 1.9 KD. But I've been there since then. Like I've actually, if anything, I've gotten worse. I also think that's skill based matchmaking. I also think that's metas because everyone was running something different and it was fun. And
Yeah.
then everyone ran the growl. And then everyone ran the kilo.
Speaking of the growl, I'm gonna run the growl. I'm running the growl today with with an RPG.
All right. Well, I think that should be our pod. What do you think?
All right.
Pod today.
We got an hour and 20 minutes.